إن الحمد لله نحمده ونستعينه ونستغفره ونعوذ بالله من شرور أنفسنا ومن سيئات أعمالنا من يهده الله فلا مضل له ومن يضل فلا هادي له وأشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له وأن محمدا عبده ورسوله. قال الله تعالى إنا نحن نزلنا الذكر وإن له لحافظون. وقال الله تعالى إنه لقرآن كريم في كتاب مكنون لا يمسه إلا المطهرون تنزيلا من رب العالمين. رب اشرح لي صدري ويسر لي أمري واحلل عقدة من لساني يفقهوا قولي. أما بعد, brothers, initially when I interact with non-Muslims, I start interacting, for the dawah purposes, or non-practicing Muslims, to get their attention towards the Quran. I normally present Quran as a source of knowledge. Like we get attracted to new things and new knowledge. So I feel like there is a human acquired knowledge, but Quran is a different set of knowledge which we need to connect to. And this is my topic for today. Quran is a source of knowledge, as an independent source of knowledge. It's a very lengthy subject, because we see knowledge based on our own limitation, our own perspective. And when you establish something like you say Google is a source of knowledge, right? When we talk about it, there is certain thought goes in there. There's certain criteria to pick it up as a source of knowledge, and there are tons of them. Like for medical things, there are medical journals, and for different purposes. There are different sets of knowledge which we actually consider as a source of knowledge. But when we talk about Quran as an independent source of knowledge, how do we actually define it? So from that perspective, making it as an independent set of knowledge from beyond human criteria, it's like I said, it's a difficult subject to cover in a khutbah, but I will try to briefly put the sets of rules which makes a source of knowledge from human aspect, and a source Quran as a different, what Quran actually says about itself as a, how it established itself as a source of knowledge beyond the human criteria. So first we are going to talk about what makes, how we actually perceive knowledge, how we actually gain knowledge, what are the source, like the foundation or the principle we actually establish to gain something as knowledge, or we learn from it. So the first thing is human senses, right? All these faculties we have, the sight, hearing, touching, we acquire information from outside world, take it inside, and if we know about those things, we put a tag, like lights or trees or a car. We see it, and then we actually take it inside, the information goes inside, and then we know knowledge comes out, like this is, and if something is not known, then we research on it and find out how people in the established knowledge, how it's been defined and all that. Like we consult dictionaries and encyclopedias and like other things to know whether, if I don't know, how other people know, and then we actually figure it out. So that's one aspect of the way we establish knowledge. The other one is the inference of, the intellect. When we don't know anything, it's completely new, we don't find any reference, it's completely new, people start searching, trying to define what it is. Like 200 years ago, if somebody saw a plane flying and they don't know, they might have think like it's like a bird, right? And then they go on and actually try to find out what it is. And in a nutshell, all our science is that inference that Allah gives insan this ability. When he finds something, he ponder and establish take it further. You know, like all these areas of knowledge, the highest level is philosophy. If you see the history, in the beginning, everything, those people think it's under philosophy, but then start, you know, it's branches coming out like the science or social sciences and all that stuff. There are established different sciences now. And how we get there? By inference, by, you know, like concluding and, you know, finding more facts and, you know, segregating different different areas and make it like this is a different level of learning, right? We call it inference, right? We infer on it and establish, like from a wheel, we establish engine, and from an engine we build a locomotive engine, and things so on and so forth. There's another source and principle of learning is history, right? We know that this is already being established. So there are two aspects. There is a established history, like World War I, or Declaration of Independence in 1774, July 4th, right? These are established history. Or more recently, 9/11 thing. These are established. If somebody goes and deny it, people will send it to another place. Like, you know, first get your faculty fixed if you are denying these facts. But point is, this is an established history. But then there is another history, which again, human actually add whatever they know. Like, you know, the fossils. We find the fossils, and then based on other scientific tools, we try to establish when did this happen, how was things. Like, you know, old civilization, people go find out, they get those fossils and, you know, like things, and then establish, oh, this is 5,000 years old, and then based on that research they establish some kind of knowledge. So this is how normally humans establish a thing as knowledge. Now the second thing, like based on this, when we bring Quran as another information medium, we need to explain how other source take, you know, like how it takes place as another source or another medium of knowledge. So to explain it is kind of a small little things which we need to understand from our point of view, because we are establishing or giving a status to Quran, or understanding that this is an independent source of knowledge. So the highest level of intellect, human intellect, is philosophy. Like, you know, we call it fiqh. So the human fiqh is has the quality of conclusiveness, right? It established a conclusive argument that this is what it is. Like, you know, water maintains the level. Anywhere you go, water maintains the level. Whatever you change, water maintains the level. Or things fall down towards, you know, like ground. These are established facts, and we cannot think beyond it, right? So if somebody says, hey, the water is not keeping the level in this area, everyone will notice and, you know, attend why it is the way it is. Like, you know, what is causing it? Because we cannot think beyond, like, water maintains the level. That's established fact because of our understanding. So keeping this point in mind, that there are Quran, when we talk about Quran and, you know, presented as a source of knowledge, we have to provide some kind of argument which is beyond that realm, like, you know, what human can perceive. So with this context, when we evaluate piece of, you know, like what Quran is a piece of literature, right? It's a book, it's a text. So when we see, like, human, how they actually see literature, when we see any literature, like, you know, people, the findings of Darwin or somebody, Marcus, who actually wrote the socialist revolution and all that stuff, anything which is like peace, like poetry, a book of poetry. When we evaluate, we see these three human aspect criteria establish a masterpiece for anything, but we see there is three distinct facts which makes a person got there, or create that piece. It could be a speech, it could be a literal masterpiece. So the first aspect which makes it outstanding, we know that person actually spend time, gradually it gets to there, right? Like Harry Potter, a very famous series, but when we learn about Harry Potter, the writer of Harry Potter, we know the Harry Potter, she used to Joanna or whatever her name is, she used to write when she was young. She used to write fantasy stories and share it with her sister, and so on and so forth. In somewhere in the middle of her life, she got some vision while she was in a train. She got the idea and she started writing, and eventually she created this Harry Potter series. Things like that. So one thing what I'm actually trying to establish, they have a graduation, like gradual movement, progression. We know that this happened. Second thing, when before they get, once they get to a create a masterpiece, a historical thing, or something which we see. If it is an idea, there are people who actually provide a counter idea, or if ideology, there is a counter narrative about it. I mean, the thing is, anything what human actually creates, people start criticizing it, right? Like, they have a different, there are some people who has different set of eyes, or different way of looking at it. And also, any of these things, they had a relevance in our history. They are good, relevant to our history for a number of years. Could be 10 years, like Harry Potter is very famous in 10 years ago. It's not that famous. It is still popular, but going down the line, like 50 years down the line, it will lose its relevance. So there is an age. So there are three factors, which I'm actually trying to say, like, with the human knowledge, or anything which we actually want to establish, is a very important point to understand. First, it has a period of evolution when you go. Second, when you present it, there are differences of opinion. People actually try to criticize it for the beginning or for the end or something. And then the third thing is has a relevance and age related to it. Now we will see when we talk about Quran, how Quran actually provides reasoning that this is beyond your criteria, right? So I will actually get some pieces from the Quran and explain it, how Quran actually provide his argument to prove that this is not human after. Because this is what initially when Rasulullah started reciting Quran, or preaching Quran, the non-Muslims were saying like, oh, he's possessed, or he learned magic or something like that, right? So and we will actually use this filter, the one we established, to check what it says, what Quran actually claims. So the first one, Quran says, فَقَدْ لَبِسْتُمْ فِيكُمْ عُمْرٌ مِنْ قَبْلِهِ أَفَلَا تَعْقِلُونَ. Right? Verily I have stayed among you for a lifetime before this. Like before I recite Quran, Rasulullah, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala making this, clarifying it from Rasulullah's time. Hey, I was among you. You know me, right? I never produce anything like literary like this. All of a sudden it's coming. I mean, Quraysh, like his claim of he got the message from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, like Wahi. They were, the people, local people were aware of Wahi. Because Ahl Kitab, or like the other mushrikun, they know that Allah actually communicated in the past with chosen people, like prophets. So their claim was, their disagreement was not this, just to kind of write off. They were actually trying to blame, like, oh, you are possessed, or there's a magician who is actually trying to speak through you, or things like that, like a possession of jinn or something. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the first fact, Allah says, look, This is no graduation, like the word criteria you put it, like evolution. There's nothing. It's all of a sudden it came to you, and it's the marvelous piece. Nobody could compare anything, like produce anything like that, and people were mesmerized with this knowledge, right? The second criteria, Quran actually defined for itself to be above the human reasoning. Quran says, أَفَلَا تَدَبُّرُونَ الْقُرآن. Don't you ponder in the Quran? وَلَوْ كَانَ مِنْ عِنْدِ اللَّهِ مِنْ عِنْدِ غَيْرِ اللَّهِ لَوَاحِدٌ لَوَجَدُوا فِي اخْتِلَافٍ كَثِيرًا. Do they not consider Quran carefully, tadabbarun? Had it been from other than Allah, they would surely have found therein many contradictions, right? Like the Quran, we know the establishes the Quran is not like one time, here you go. No, it actually come piecemeal, right? For 23 years. And that's what it says, like what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala claimed, like, look, you don't find any contradiction. It's the human life. When you are going to the evolution process, your mindset is focused on something, but later in life, it's different, right? You gradually, you improve, your writing, your, the presentation improves. So, but Quran is consistent from the beginning till the end, right? That's the claim Allah said. It's like it is out of your whatever logic is. And the third logic Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentioned, لا يأتيه الباطل من بين يديه ولا من خلفه تنزيل من حكيم حميد. Right? Falsehoods cannot come from before it or behind it. Like from the front or the back. Means like anything, like people were saying before or after Quran, you don't find that in the Quran. Whatever Quran says is final. You try to prove wrong, it's not there. Like it's been 1500, 1400 plus years. Nothing can be proven wrong. What the aspect of Quran, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala present in the Quran. Brother, these exceptions make us understand the status of Quran as a speech and a piece of literature that is beyond, that is above and beyond the established human criteria, right? Thus, we Muslims say that it is an independent source because of these reasoning of Quran provided, independent source of knowledge that the humankind can learn and benefit from besides our own established knowledge basis. أقول قولي هذا واستغفر الله لي ولكم ولسائر المسلمين استغفروه إنه هو الغفور الرحيم. بسم الله والحمد لله والصلاة والسلام على رسول الله. Brother, another aspect Orientalists criticize to challenge the integrity of Quran is by the manuscript or the mushaf of the Quran, right? Like, just to that claim that it is an independent knowledge, source of knowledge, they criticize. They try to, like, the second option I told, the human, they actually criticize things. What they question that it was written after the death of Prophet ﷺ, right? And at that time, different people have different versions. And with the power of rule, Khalifa has chosen one manuscript, one mushaf, and destroys the others. That's what this is. Like, when did you establish the Quran, right? Well, when was the first Quran being written? So the answer for ourselves is to tell them the Quran was not protected by the established norms of protecting a book, the way we look at it, especially non-Muslim looking at it. Besides the faith, they try to criticize. It's not that way. But it was saved through the continuous transfer, which is called mutawatir, right? Mutawatir means is so many people convey something from one point to the other time that it was impossible to, all that people to be consistent on a lie, right? It's not from one person. So many people transfer the knowledge, and so many. So transfer to the mutawatir transfer for the not only for the text but orally, right? it's not only the text they were transferring, like, you know, people were Rasulullah saying, people were writing and then pass it on. It's not like this only, but oral. That's the main established. Because like when they claim, like, you know, this is wrong, this is wrong, it's like, you don't know. This is not the way Allah actually established it. Allah actually established it. Rasulullah actually started it, and it is a start till now, till this day. We are passing it on the same way. The practice never established. So the correction we need to make to them is like, you know, I'm wearing clothes, and this is like, you know, where did you get them, you know, suit or anything? It's like, no, these are not. These are different set. These are two independent clothes which I'm wearing. Like, you know, we have. You know, for the Hajj we wear it, the two garments. Anyway, so it's a different set the way Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala protected us, protected the Quran. So based on all this and describe them connected history. Anyway, the main thing is this is one of the reason which is being attacked. We as Muslims, we need to know how we actually, you know, put Quran as a final authority, as an independent source of knowledge based on these information. May Allah make us understand, you know, make us dyes of the Quran and the dyes of the Deen, and to make us understand how we understand our Deen and how we understand our Quran. قال الله تعالى إن الله وملائكته يصلون على النبي يا أيها الذين آمنوا صلوا عليه وسلموا تسليما اللهم صل على محمد وعلى آل محمد وعلى أصحابه إلى يوم الدين ربنا آتنا في الدنيا حسنة وفي الآخرة حسنة وقنا عذاب النار. Oh Allah, make us understand the Quran better and better. Oh Allah, give us understanding to your own to our own behavior and mistakes, and guide us to correct it. Oh Allah, give us guidance in this life and lead us to enter your paradise. Oh Allah, help Muslims everywhere in the world. Oh Allah, save us all from this coronavirus calamity and return us to our regular social life and regular life. Oh Allah, cure the sick among us and forgive the loved one departed from us. Oh Allah, make us obedient to you and guide us through the Prophet's Sunnah. Ya muqallibul qulub, sabbit qulubana ala dinik. اللهم اغفر للمسلمين والمسلمات والمؤمنين والمؤمنات الأحياء منهم والأموات إنك سميع قريب مجيب الدعوات ربنا لا تؤاخذنا إن نسينا وأخطأنا ربنا ولا تحمل علينا إثما كما حملته على الذين من قبلنا ربنا ولا تحملنا ما لا طاقة لنا به واعف عنا واغفر لنا وارحمنا أنت مولانا فانصرنا على القوم الكافرين ربنا آتنا في الدنيا حسنة وفي الآخرة حسنة وقنا عذاب النار والحمد لله رب العالمين. عباد الله إن الله يأمر بالعدل والإحسان وإيتاء ذي القربى وينهى عن الفحشاء والمنكر والبغي يعظكم لعلكم تذكرون فاذكروا الله العظيم يذكركم واشكروه على نعمه يزدكم ولذكر الله أكبر.